But her classmates aren't happy. I want to sit with my friends, says Tamara. I don't want to sit with him, yells Michael. But I don't even know her name, whines Sarah. And I don't like the way her food looks, says Tomas, pointing at Nadia's lunch. This is how we're going to sit today, Mr. Stokes says. We'll talk about it when we get back to the classroom. Everyone eats their lunch in silence. Back in the classroom, Mr. Stokes asks everyone to sit in a circle on the reading rug. Our class is a community, he says, and in a thriving community, people of all kinds can live and work together. But when we're dividing ourselves, we're not understanding each other. Then we need to work on healing. Lejeune looks around. Some kids are frowning, but some kids look interested in what their teacher is saying. Healing means sharing our stories and explaining our differences. So we're going to listen to each other and try to learn about each other, Mr. Stokes explains. When we know and understand each other better, our community will be stronger. Now, I heard someone say that they don't know a classmate's name. So that's going to be the first thing we do. Learn each other's names better. When you share your name, tell us about it. Where does it come from? What does it mean? Everyone has a name and everyone has a story. We can use our names to start telling our stories. Mr. Stokes looks at Lejeune. Lejeune, will you go first? Lejeune smiles at Mr. Stokes and takes a deep breath. My name is Lejeune, she says. It comes from Camp Lejeune, a military base where some of the first Black people in the Marines trained. My family is Black, and many of them have served in the military. Thank you, Lejeune, Mr. Stokes says. Who wants to go next? My name is Nadia, says the girl next to Lejeune. It means hope. My family came here from Poland last year, and that's where my name comes from. I have 5 names, says another boy. Geraldo Olag Ramos Perez Teo. My names honor my grandparents. Our family is Native and Mexican. Here at school, everyone calls me Jerry. Having 5 names is really cool, says Sarah. My name means princess in Hebrew. My family is Jewish. The boy next to her speaks up. My name is Charles. It's the same as my dad's name and the same as my grandpa's name, too. I wish my name was the same as my grandpa's, says Tomas. Lejeune listens as the rest of her classmates share their names. Now it's my turn, says Mr. Stokes. My name is Hubert. Lejeune's eyes widen, and she hears some gasps and giggles around her. I never thought about my teacher having a first name. Mr. Stokes laughs. Hubert means bright mind. I like to think it's a good name for a teacher. Now let's talk. Why was it so hard to change seats at lunch? Asks Mr. Stokes. I like sitting with my friends, says Sarah. Me too, says Tamara. But why are we only friends with people who look like us? Lejeune asks. Why can't we be friends with people who look different? Jennifer was my best friend, even though she's white and I'm Black. Everyone is quiet for a moment. Well, I don't want to sit next to Nadia because her food looks funny, Tomas says. Nadia, why don't you tell us a little bit about your lunch? Mr. Stokes says, My grandma usually packs me kiska, Nadia says. It's a kind of sausage and it's really good. It reminds me of Poland. Tomas, maybe you'd like to try some next time Nadia brings it in, Mr. Stokes says. I would, says Charles. Maybe, says Tomas. It sounds different. Lejeune thinks about the pozole at Eva's house. It sounded different, too. I keep hearing that word different, says Mr. Stokes. It's true, we are different. Our names prove that. But our differences don't have to separate us. The bell rings. School is over for the day. Mr. Stokes stands by the door as the students walk out. If we're going to heal what divides our classroom, we have to keep listening. We have to keep sharing, he says. We'll try again on Monday. On the way home from school, Lejeune stops at Eva's house and knocks on the door. Can we play in your tree house? Lejeune asks when Eva answers. Eva seems surprised, but she nods. She tells Lejeune all about the planets on her posters. You know, I wish I could teach you how to play softball sometime, Lejeune says. I'd like that, Eva says. Maybe when it's warmer. Do you want to go inside? You can stay for dinner. We're having arroz con pollo. What's that? Lejeune asks suspiciously. Chicken and rice, Eva answers. Mama makes chicken and rice sometimes, Lejeune thinks. This might taste different, though. But I guess I can try it. Okay, says Lejeune. I'd love to come. The next Monday at school, Lejeune walks into the lunchroom. Some of the white kids are still sitting together, and some of the black kids are still sitting together. But Nadia, Charles, and Tomas are sitting at a table in the middle. Lejeune sets down her tray. After a few minutes, Mr. Stokes walks in with Eva. Eva waves at Lejeune, and Lejeune waves back. Everyone, this is our new classmate, Eva. Who would like to invite her to sit at their table? Lejeune raises her hand. She sees Tamara raise hers too, and Sarah. Eva comes over and sits next to Lejeune. Want to share my cookie? asks Lejeune. Sure, says Eva. She looks at Nadia's kitska. That smells like my abuela's chorizo sausage, she explains. I'll have to try it sometime, says Lejeune. When Mama asks Lejeune how her day was, Lejeune smiles. I haven't seen you smile like that since Jennifer left, Mama declares. I still miss Jennifer, says Lejeune, but I've made some new friends, and I've tried a new food, and I'm going to help Eva paint her treehouse to look like the night sky, and Charles is going to come play softball with us and teach me how to pitch, and wow, Mama says. It sounds like you're learning lots of different things. That's because my friends and I are all different, Lejeune says, and there's so much that we can show each other. Mama smiles. That's how our differences make us stronger. Meet the real Lejeune Montgomery Tabron. This story about Lejeune is based on the life of a real person named Lejeune Montgomery Tabron. The real Lejeune is now the president and CEO of the W.K. Kellogg Foundation, an organization that helps kids and families around the world. But she was once a little girl growing up in Detroit, Michigan. Lejeune really is one of 10 children, and she really did have a best friend named Jennifer. Lejeune didn't know it at the time, but Jennifer's family moved as part of something called White Flight. As more Black Americans moved into northern cities in the 1950s and 1960s, white families moved out of the cities. In some cases, it was because they didn't want to live near Black people. In other cases, like with Jennifer's family, it was because they worried their homes wouldn't be worth as much money if there were Black people living in their neighborhoods. In every case, it was wrong. Lejeune's real elementary class was made up of mostly Black students, with some white students. But she went to a high school called Cass Tech that included students from many different races who lived across Detroit. At Cass Tech, LeJeune decided she wanted to be an astronaut. When she came back to Detroit after studying business at the University of Michigan, LeJeune saw how much the city had changed. As people and businesses had moved out of the city, Detroit had lost money. Places like schools and libraries were suffering. LeJeune knew she had to help her community. She joined the W.K. Kellogg Foundation, which gives money to communities around the world that want to make change. LeJeune used her training as an accountant to keep track of the foundation's programs. After 25 years, LeJeune became the president and CEO of the W.K. Kellogg Foundation. She is both the first woman and the first African American person to run the foundation. Just like LeJeune in the story, she is proud to help others learn and grow through her racial healing work. The end. For more information on LeJeune's work, parents and educators may keep watching. When LeJeune's classmates are upset about having to change places at lunch, Mr. Stokes asks everyone to sit in a circle to talk. This kind of conversation is called a healing circle. Some healing circles, like the one in the story, help people talk about race. These are called racial healing circles. One way to begin a healing circle is with something called conocimiento. In Spanish, conocimiento means knowledge or wisdom. It's about getting to know each other better. In this story, Mr. Stokes asks everyone to talk about their names and where they came from. People could also share places that are special to them, toys they like to play with, or books they like to read. Conocimiento questions are meant to help everyone see that we all have different parts of who we are, but there are things we share too, whether you're using them as part of a racial healing circle or just to get to know someone new while waiting for the bus. Conocimiento questions are a good way to become comfortable and discover connections with others. After getting to know each other better, people take turns sharing their stories or bringing up problems in their communities. It's everyone else's job to practice active listening. This means that they're listening with their hearts and keeping their minds open. There is also someone called a facilitator, like Mr. Stokes, who helps make sure that people take turns talking and that everyone's feelings are respected. Just like in the LeJeune's classroom, healing circles don't solve everyone's problems right away, but they help people feel more connected and make them more willing to work together. Healing circles have been around for a long time in different forms. Indigenous people in Africa, Australia, and North America have used them for centuries to solve problems peacefully. When the W.K. Kellogg Foundation wanted to find a way to talk about race and help people heal from the pain caused by racism, the team decided to try circles focused on racial healing. LeJeune and the foundation have seen how racial healing circles can help communities thrive. They've organized circles across the country, and in 2017, the foundation created the National Day of Racial Healing. It happens every January, on the Tuesday after Martin Luther King Jr. Day. The foundation often holds big events to teach people about racial healing and encourages schools, companies, and communities to host events to help others start their own racial healing efforts. Questions to make you think. What makes up your identity? What is the story behind your name? If you're not sure, ask your grown-up. Who do you like to sit with at lunch and why? Have you ever felt different in a group because of some part of your identity? Have you seen someone else treated unfairly because of who they are? How did it make you feel? Is there a time when you wished you could have talked with someone about something but felt nervous because it was about their identity? Where could you start a conocimiento conversation with someone new?